This video is for going over the different level building tools that I've been putting together. The scene selector blueprint has a trigger volume for whenever the player walks over. Right now it just loads the next level, but what it could do is signify that we know where we're headed next. So this could be something you walk over, or it could be something that you pick up or that you scan. And basically all it does is, it used to feed all of this information into variables in the game instance, but now we're just feeding in the next level, and the spectator test map is fed to the game instance. We head there. And there's a variable here that gets, it pulls back, let's see, so this next level value is going to grab a row from our scene transition data table. You can see these are the names of the maps that we have right now. And this structure is used for each row of that data table. We can add to it as we find things that we want to put onto the scene transition widget, which I showed plenty of times before, I think. So right now it's a bunch of text and an image and the name of the level to load. And so these are each of those rows. You can see those variables reflected. And I've renamed the row values to fit the format of what we'll enter. Let me go ahead and pull it up so you can see that correlation. So you can see as we go down, I put them in order down the screen as they go down in the data table as well. And this is back to that. So you can place this in all sorts of ways to update that variable. This is just was an easy way for us to test with, to walk over and load it up. I'll show another way after I go through this level, because I wanted to talk about these different tools. So these objects are basically representing any space object, and we can replace the mesh on each one of them. So we can just place these in here as little tokens in here, like those cubes up here are actually the asteroids that'll spin around, and we select the rock and how fast they'll rotate. So if I come back here, you can do the same with these. They have an exposed variable for the static mesh, so that we could change this to be one of the rocks. And you could still pick it up. You could walk over to it and grab it and pick it up. And you know how you could grab like the different pieces of them, the extremities, you can pick them up by the legs or whatever. You could do the same with this mesh, even though it's the same object, has a new mesh, you can grab the collision on this mesh. So over here, this scanner object, right now when you hover over it, it just changes colors. When you click your controller, it just makes a beep. But this widget to load is something that you can set so that whenever you click on it, it'll load a widget, and we can place that widget somewhere up above or on the screen, wherever we want. But that would say basically when you scan it, it puts that information on the screen. And then the object is another static mesh variable, so we can change this. So the same way that these objects are to be picked up, these objects are to be scanned, but they are, it didn't change in the editor. This is a different type of variable, but it will change when you start it up. There you go, so you can see. It looks like I have the scale set lower on these guys, but otherwise they would show up the same. That's the same mesh. So those are the pickup and the scan objects. We could combine them. We probably should, but you may not always want to be able to do both. So these you've seen, they have the trigger to overlap to walk onto them. These are the variables that will control what pops up when you use it. And you can click over here to edit them or hit Control E. But it looks like anything except for the base is just going to show, here's the base, it's got functionality, I can override it if I want. So this is a child of the blueprint base class. And I won't go into that one here, but basically, you saw it in the videos, it basically just loads video or a picture or an audio, whatever kind you pick. So the other way that I have this implemented right now, the scene selector, is to place it in the level blueprint. I did that on the VR menu. And so you don't walk around in this area. These collision boxes keep you from moving anywhere instead of letting you overlap and do something. These block you. So you're basically in this little cage, and you just look at the menu, and the other one will pop up after some seconds. So how do you move to the next level? You can, instead of walking over something, we go to the level blueprint, and this level just hard codes the next level into it. And here's that setup scene transition with the get current level name. So pulling up the current level name is going to open up the next level. And I think I mentioned this in another one, but we could take the current level and offset it by 1, the same way an array starts at 0 instead of 1. We could say the current level, the next index is going to be the next level, so that way I'd be grabbing a row that matches the information to the level instead of to the level before. And I could show that when we create one if that's confusing. But that's it for the level designer tools. You can probably see how from this map we made several configurations for the widget, and that was fairly quick. You basically just take the same menu setup and you drag in a different type of variable. Like that one's got that TV kind of window box. This one has an image window box. This one has that U there is just the basic template thing, and it doesn't signify anything. It has no content, but there is a sound component in this blueprint. Well, not in this blueprint, but in the widget that it points to, which is the audio data point. I won't bother with that, but it has like an audio sound component, and it has like the sound to play, and it has the play and pause and stuff hooked up to the buttons. So that is the tool to differentiate between each of the levels, and aside from seeing different things on the levels, you can allow the character to be able to do things on different levels. Like we can just say, if the level is one of the levels from a list that we allow, then open up the scanner option, or block the pickup option. So you can have conditionals for what kind of tools they have. As easy as that. Just have a branch and say, based on whatever we decide, either allow or disallow that kind of functionality. So I want to take the big model of arrows that we have. We have a couple tasks for this, and slice out segments that are interesting, like this big crater, or I think we have the tip. And on each of those, we'll put different kinds of data like this. So it's not just physically obvious at a glance that it's different as far as arrows goes, but also what we put on it. And that'll be, those are some tools that we can use to do that.